I found this piece of rebar sitting at the side of a mountain road, and it must have been there for at least 20 years because originally it was a ½ inch and now it's closer to about a quarter of an inch. I'm still fooling around with coffee scoops like this copper and steel one, and also these two all steel ones except for the rivet, and I really do prefer the steel ones now. This one here has a handle made from that weathered piece of rebar, and you really can't mimic that weathered look. The handle on this one was also a piece that I found on the roadside, and I wasn't sure what it is, but I thought it might be rebar, and in fact it is. It's just a smaller size, and so they give it a different kind of a texture. I went to a hardware store and bought some. This package here of 25 sticks cost me about $3, and I'll use this in some upcoming videos for various projects. In order to make somewhat bigger scoops, I altered the piece of pipe I have by flaring one end out a bit. I heated it up and I punched this ball inside. So on to today's project, a steel coffee scoop like I just showed. This chisel doesn't work too well with copper, but it works well with steel, and a lot of that has to do with the angle of the bevel. A larger angle is better for something harder like steel, where a smaller angle would be better for something softer like copper. Though the thickness of the material that you're chiseling also makes a difference to some degree. I'm making today's coffee scoop to give as a gift to a good friend in the gym who's always helping me with stuff like diet and stretching. Her name is Xiaomin, but I like to call her Hey Siri because she always seems to have answers to whatever questions I might ask. My regular angle grinder is busted, and so I'm using this old one, but the way that switches, it's definitely a little bit more dangerous the way these old school ones are set up. I think I should eventually put a hardy shank on this. I need to give a big shout out to two guys for their recent, very generous donations to the channel. They are Michael Mullenix and Richard Brown. Thanks very much, fellas, for helping to keep the coffee scoops scooping. I want to square up the hole, and this way one rivet will suffice. So when I did this, I had the front end not far enough over the front edge. And so you see how it kind of tips down like that, and it's not very deep. So what I'll do is turn it over and use the more narrow part there, and with this smaller ball peen, work that down some. Here's a piece of that old weathered rebar. To a construction worker, this rebar is foobar, but to a blacksmith, it's a treasure. Because this is a little thicker, so I heat it up a little bit before squaring it up. Here's a little piece of round copper that I'll square up to make the rivet. I just want to get it where it won't fall out, and then I'll heat the piece up and tighten it up very easily. After some wire brushing, I think you can see what I mean by that old rebar being priceless for certain projects like this. As is, it would rust up pretty quickly here in Taiwan. You can see this second one I've been working on. The handle is bent downward, and so it's riveted inside rather than outside. I heat them up to draw some temper colors, and then I'll quench them in soybean oil, and that'll help to give them decent rust protection. This oil is pretty old and could stand to be changed. The rich colors really make a piece like this pop. I like that very much. I probably should have got a little more heat on the handle end here on this one, but as is, it'll work. And this one here I just find to be really outstanding. I just love that look. Like I said, that rebar, that weathered look is just really, really hard to mimic. That's all for now. Got a lot more fooling around to do.